The kingdom of Hermes has fallen, and alchemy is now being widely used across the land. Attempts to halt the use of magic have failed, and plague-infected monsters are prowling the streets. The kingdom is in chaos. Corvus is its only hope. Welcome back to the neighborhood. My name is Andrew, and in this video, I'm going to be talking about Thymesia. What is Thymesia? It is an action role-playing video game developed by Taiwanese developer OverBorder Studio and published by Team 17. It is an action, Souls-like game that leans more into the aggressive, fast-paced combat of Sekiro and Bloodborne, as opposed to the slower, more methodical combat of Dark Souls. So what do I like about Thymesia? First of all, the combat. The combat is the backbone of this game. You can tell that it is where the developers put most of their time and effort, and I think that shines through. Thymesia is not a big game, it is not a long game, it is a game that you can tell is made by a smaller, lesser known, lower budget studio, but it plays well and the combat is, I think, really unique and fun. The reason for that is you get a parry, and that's where the Sekiro influence comes in. The parry is very important in this game. It's very fast-paced. You get paid for being aggressive, similar to, like I said, Bloodborne and Sekiro. But the thing that's interesting about the combat is the plague weapon system and the wounds system. So as you attack enemies, their health bar goes down, but it reveals kind of like a second health bar, like a green health bar. And in order for you to take that green health bar down, you have to use your plague weapon, your claw weapon. And if you don't, then their first health will start to go back up if you let them sit long enough. And it's kind of a really interesting twist on some of the other mechanics we've seen in Souls games in the past. Sekiro had its posture system. Bloodborne has had its rally mechanic. Like, there have been things that have played with the health bar, and I think this is just kind of another evolution or twist on that, and I really enjoyed it. So essentially, you use your base weapon to just beat the crap out of an enemy and try to expose its green health bar, and then you use your claw attacks to knock that down. And however low you get that, that's the maximum amount that they can recover health. So it behooves you to try to take that green bar down as much as you can. This is the same for bosses and basic enemies. The thing is that the claw attacks are a little bit slower and leave you a little bit more open, so there is that kind of push and pull, give and take to the combat system. The other thing that you have at your disposal are plague weapons, and so initially you get a plague weapon by using like a charged claw attack to steal it from your enemy, and it's a one-time use, like really powerful attack that you can use. As the game progresses, you unlock plague weapons that you can just equip, and you can kind of level those up and increase their power over time. And I thought that this was a really interesting idea, especially the like stealing it from the enemy part. Like, I found that really intriguing. I don't think you utilize it as much in the later game because you have your own plague weapons that you can just equip and use, but it's a cool idea and one that I would like to see explored more in maybe future games from this studio or other games in the genre. The other thing that I really like about Thymesia is the setting. So you're seeing the gameplay on screen. This game is very Bloodborne inspired. You are running around as a plague doctor with like the crow outfit from Eileen the Crow in Bloodborne. You can throw feathers to interrupt your enemy's attacks, and it's all plague based, and it's kind of set in that same era and timeline as Bloodborne would have been. So obviously that speaks to me as a lover of Bloodborne. And I think this game, for its budget and its smaller scope, did a pretty good job of capturing that vibe and that tone. And in general, I found the levels to be diverse enough and interesting enough, and the level design to be solid with its shortcuts and checkpoints and stuff. Overall, I didn't really have any complaints about the level design other than where I will kick off the things that I didn't really like about Thymesia, which is it's extremely linear. If you're looking for a very just straightforward, fast-paced, the whole point of the thing is to learn the combat system and get good at it kind of Souls-like, that is this game. If you're looking for a game that is more about exploring and finding secrets and finding cool weapons and finding collectibles and learning the lore and things like that and being rewarded for your exploration, this is not that. I think that can be chalked up to personal preference in some cases, but a lot of the times when you're playing a game in the Souls genre, you're hoping for that bit of exploration and being rewarded for doing so. The other thing that I didn't really care for was the length of the game. It's pretty short. When I initially played this game, I played it for free on like a free Xbox weekend thing where they like let you play games for free for the weekend. Pretty self-explanatory, I guess. And I got just about all the way through the game in that weekend. I recently picked it up again on PlayStation and I've been playing it there. And so I don't necessarily think that's a bad thing. It really depends on what you paid for it. That's all personal preference as far as like cost to length, value ratio, things like that. But I did, for my taste, feel like it was a little bit short, and I would have liked to maybe see it go a little bit longer, have a few more big bosses, things like that. The other thing that I didn't really care about was the storytelling. So very interested in the setting, very interested in the concept of this game, but the way that they tell the story, the characters, the lore notes, like I really just couldn't be bothered in this game. Some games, it hooks me immediately. I go on YouTube, I want to see the theories, I want to hear other people how they interpreted the story, I want to see if Vati has put a video out about it, but for Thymesia, I just was kind of powering through the levels, killing the enemies. Like I said, the combat system is the backbone of this game, and I think everything else around it is just good enough. It's fine. But the combat system and like the skills and the leveling up and things like that is really where this game sings. With that being said, who would I recommend Thymesia to? So like I said, I would recommend this game to people who really like fast-paced combat systems. If you like action games, if you like Sekiro, if you like things like that, I think that this game does a good job of setting itself apart and providing some interesting ideas and some fun concepts that I would personally love to see them keep exploring or other people take a look at and be like, oh yeah, I like some of what they did here, let's put that in our next game. And then I would obviously recommend this to people who just like Souls-likes, who are always on the hunt for that new Souls experience like I am. I think that this game is definitely in that kind of mid-tier AA spectrum. It doesn't rise to the tops like a Lies of P or anything like that, but it's also not at the very bottom with just like some hot garbage that you've never heard of. Like I think it's kind of right in the middle of the pack, and if you're just kind of craving that Souls experience, it's definitely one to look into. So what would I give Thymesia for my final verdict? I would give it a C. I really enjoyed the combat system, and like I said, that is the core of this experience. I just wish everything else that surrounded it could have been shown a bit more love. But I am excited to see what this studio does next. But what do you think of Thymesia? Let me know in the comments below. Have you played it? If so, did you like it? Is this the first you're hearing of it? And if so, are you interested in checking it out? I want to hear. If you like this video, check out my other reviews of Souls-like games, such as Mortal Shell and Steel Rising. If you want to hear me talk more in depth and at length about video games, check out our podcast right here on YouTube and wherever you get your podcasts on the audio platforms. Well, that's it for this video. Stay friendly, gamers.